Oh, do I have something special for y'all today? Are you tired of feeling like you've been muted? Like you can't communicate what it is that you desire to say effectively or at all? Like somebody won't let you talk or something, or maybe even you won't allow you to just spit it out. Maybe you've gone through things in life that you don't feel comfortable communicating and expressing and talking about. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about how you can go about not only unmuting yourself, but understanding why your voice actually matters. But first, I want to start with this jam that I created with my guy, John Jizzle. Let's start right here. All right, we got that out of the way. I love creating music and man, I love collaborating with other producers in the process of doing so. It's so phenomenal. So I wanted to share that. I should make that my intro music, huh? Anyways, your voice. Why you should unmute yourself. Look, so I was reading my Bible, right? Yeah, my Bible. And I saw something I've seen so many times, but it just connected with me this time in a way that I was like, you know what? Hold on, I got to talk about this. It's it's a proverb, and it says, "Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all the unfortunate." I said, hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute, what? Open your mouth for the mute and for the rights of all the unfortunate. Have you ever experienced something in life you wish somebody would have told you better than? Like you like, man, I wish somebody would have told me about this a long time ago. I'm talking about you were in a situation and scenario that when you fast forward, mind you, you're past it. It's in your past. But you've gotten to a point like, man, I wish somebody would have warned me about that. I wish somebody would have told me about that. I wish someone would have unmuted themselves, right? See, when you look at muting, it's a quieting, silencing, censoring going on. And it reminds me of whenever you on Zoom, and if you want permission to speak, then you want to be heard, right? Well, you got to unmute yourself. Well, back in the day, and even modern day, you had people who were born with the inability to actually speak with their words. They were what would disrespectfully be referred to as dumb. They couldn't speak, so they were mute. They couldn't use words out of their mouths. But then there were those who were undergoing, we'll say, oppression and suppression, which was causing depression. And in the process of dealing with this process of not being able to speak, oh, yeah, they were not being allowed to speak. These same individuals were muted. Well, if it's spoken wisely to not only speak up for somebody who can't speak for themselves, it should cause you to question and ask, man, am I muting myself? Am I preventing someone else from going through whatever it could be for the better because I won't open my mouth? I know many of us have experienced things in life that have put us in a position to actually have perspectives that I promise you somebody else needs. It's crazy because there's another proverb and it says life and death is in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will enjoy its fruit. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, what fruit? Tongue, life, death. Man, that's some serious stuff. Fruit is serious. Don't go, just live your life without any type of results, and you tell me how that works out. It don't work well. So understanding that fruit that comes out of your mouth is literally that which is going to uplift, inform, and help, or it's going to hinder, hold back, and harm. And if the words that we are using are not uplifting, then they are not edifying. And if they're not edifying, they're not building up, they're tearing down. Well, here's the crazy part. Here's the science behind this. The science behind this is this: sound and smell are two things that do not need your permission to enter into your actual body. Ain't that crazy? That means if you smell some food, oh my goodness, and it's so good, it doesn't need your permission to enter into your actual body. Yeah, yeah. That's why it used to trip me out when you go through the mall and they be trying to grab your wrist. We're like, here, smell this, smell this. I'm like, man, get off of me. How dare you unhand me, But when you look at the actual music, also the sounds that you hear, they don't need your permission to enter into your actual earwaves. Well, these sound waves have the ability to influence and actually cause a form of inspiration within us that allows us to experience what we refer to as nostalgia sometimes. When you listen to a song or you hear a song, you're like, wait, hold on now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You might get into some ooh. And you hear that and you like, wait a minute. Okay, what's this? And then you find yourself going a little backwards in your back in the day. You're like, hold on now. Okay, let me calm down. Yeah. So anyways, when you hear music, it has an effect on you. When you hear sounds, it has an effect on you. If you are a mother, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Remember when the baby was young? I'm talking about infant. And whenever you were finally ready to get some rest and your body was allowing you to do so, at least that's what you thought was going to happen. And remember whenever that baby you had just breastfed, wanted some more food? They started crying and everything, and your actual breast started filling up with milk. This is natural. We grown here. And when that happens, you had to get that out of you. It was building up. Why? Because that was a part of your identity to actually fuel and feed that baby. But it was the sound and the connection that had already been established. When you heard what you heard, it caused your body to respond. That's the point that I'm making to you. So understanding that when we hear things, it affects us. There's actually the scientific phenomenon called frisson. And what frisson is, when you hear certain music and it gives you goosebumps, it's crazy that only, I think, like 52% of people experience this. I'm one of them. When you hear music that causes the hairs on your arm to rise and you get these shivers and trembles and feel so good because the music had an effect on you that causes you to release these chemicals that allows you to experience something that is pleasurable. But this is sound we're talking about. Now, you probably wonder, hold up, Jared, what are we getting at? This is what I'm getting at. Your voice from your sound has an impact and an effect on somebody else. That's why life and death is in the power of the tongue. It's funny because when we don't realize the actual value of what we have to say is something that somebody is waiting for, we are actually self-deprecating. We are actually devaluing that which is most valuable, able to be of value, able to be of use. When you open your mouth and you speak life to someone, you are participating in something that God has been doing since the beginning. In the beginning, he spoke, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became. But hold on, the Word. Yes, that you're dealing with sound, y'all. So what if what you have to say that could actually help and change somebody's life could do more than that? What if it could save someone's life? Because you desired to become more than what you are right now. If you are muted, that means you can't be heard. And if you want to free your voice and you want to actually be somebody that is worth listening to, then all you have to do is possibly tell your story. Everyone has a story. And everyone's story deserves to be heard. Catch this part though. In context. There are people who are going through things in life right now that don't have any type of hope. They don't have any hope for the future. They think that it's over for them. This is it. That's a wrap. I'm done. Not knowing that, hey, you actually are the person that's already gone through what they've gone through or what they're going through. And you have what are referred to as scars. See, I got this scar on my forehead, right here. Yeah, right here. That came from me being hard-headed. When I was a child, single digit, I was running through the house and I ran into the corner of a wall and I busted my head wide open. Or as Bernie Mac would say, bust your head to the white meat show. But it was past the white meat. It was beyond the white meat. It was, you know what? I'm going to leave that alone. But I was bleeding bad. So bad that clearly I'm 34 years old and will be 35 in a few weeks and the scar is still there. Here's the thing. There's a story behind that scar. I got scars on my body that have stories behind them. Well, for somebody, that might be an open wound. And if I show you my scars or you show them your scars, then that's evidence and proof that their wounds can be healed. And if you can heal somebody, meaning you can help to make them whole again, providing them hope and being someone who can actually help by simply opening your mouth, that means you didn't have to do anything but outlast, overcome, and go through what you went through just to be exactly where it is you were meant to be. So you're not having to do anything extra outside of live and be intentional. When you open your mouth and you speak with purpose on purpose, the things that somebody else can't see beyond the surface, you ain't got to be deep, just be honest. So when I tell you that, I'm like, man, listen, some of us need to unmute ourselves. I ain't quiet by any means. I'm not quiet. I'm not a quiet person. However, I'm a respectful person. I don't just run my mouth about everything. But there are some things that I find myself in conversations and people look at me and like, man, whoa, who are you? What is it that you do for a living? How do you, it's always something. Why? Because I open my mouth. Someone was encouraged by what Jared had to say. Well, I'm not the only person that's capable of doing these things, y'all. Some of us are holding things back because we are afraid that what is inside of us, somebody can't handle. Well, the very thing that you think that somebody can't handle is the very thing that they need because they can't handle where they at right now. And I'm not trying to tell you need to go out and have some superhero complex or nothing like that. But I am telling you that the longer you keep your mouth closed, the more you are going to be in pain. If you don't unmute yourself and allow yourself to be heard, allow your voice to be heard, allow the stories of your life to be heard and experienced, then you will never be understood in context. The number one thing that most people never want to be is misunderstood. See, folks talking about, don't judge me. You want to be judged. I promise you, you want to be judged because to judge in the context of properly being judged is to be discerned. You don't want somebody to look at you doing something that is good and assume or believe or like think is bad. You don't want that. People go on America's Got Talent to be judged. You want to be seen as, am I an actual talented person or not? So it's not that you don't want to be judged. You want to be understood appropriately, though. You don't want to be misjudged. You don't want to be misunderstood. And well, the one thing you can do to prevent that from happening is actually opening your mouth and unmuting yourself. You need to unmute yourself if you want change and transformation to come from you. See, if there's life and death in the power of the tongue, that actual power that you have, which is possession of the qualities to do something or get something done, that is in you. The most powerful thing that most people have is a story, because after you are gone, your story is your glory. So when people hear about your legacy is your life examples gained after considering you. Yeah, that's what your legacy is. Life examples gained after considering you. You are building a legacy, whether you realize it or not. Now, you're either building one worth protecting or you're creating one worth correcting. Well, one thing that you will want to correct is the deceptions and lies and deceit that's attached to your name that came from somebody else because they decided to open up their mouth and lie. Oh, you know those people that literally go about their lives wasting no time opening up their mouth because they gossips, they meddlers, they slander. You know those people you don't want to tell nothing to, but here comes such and such. Boy, I can't stand, because they want to tell everybody business and all of that. Well, why don't you tell your business before somebody else does? But it's the actual business that solves problems. The one that produces solutions, the one that provides people with hope, the one that actually allows people to understand that, man, I don't have to go through what I'm going through alone. I'm not alone. I was never alone. Oh, I'm not the first one to go through it. Well, hold on, dear. Let me put some music there. Yeah, you're providing hope to these people. When you provide hope for somebody else, they are looking to you to give them some more. It's like, would you like seconds? You want dessert? If you provide someone with hope and all you did was open up your mouth and unmute yourself, then you'll understand that, oh, wow, my voice is like music to someone else's ears. I get it all the time. Jared, your voice, oh my gosh, your voice when I hear you. And I'm grateful, but this is a gift from God, just like your story. The gift that I have is not meant for me to take and package up and keep to myself. A gift is meant to be given. And that which I am holding back, I am actually shortchanging. I will go as far as say I'm robbing somebody else if I don't use my gift appropriately. So if I see like, okay, Proverbs 31 says, open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all the unfortunate, then this also means that I am the person who has the ability to speak up and make somebody aware of, oh, well, hold on now. Hey, sis, that's not okay what somebody is doing to you. Hey, bro, that's not okay what somebody else is doing to you. And you speak up for people. Now you are somebody operating as one who could help bring things to justice. We live in America. This is a democratic republic, so to say. So here's a people. It's for the people. Government by the people, for the people. Well, if people don't open up their mouth, then you ain't gonna hear no freedom ring. If I don't open up my mouth on behalf of somebody else, then I'm actually doing somebody a disservice, and I'm not even functioning as somebody who has power that can be executed. If you're not executing your power, then you holding things back for what? What you scared of? Who you scared of? What you waiting on somebody to give you permission to speak up? You better open up your mouth and unmute yourself. If you decide to speak up and say what needs to be said, then you are actually somebody who is executing their ability to be intentional about their life. If life and death is in the power of the tongue, then anytime you choose to speak power, that means you have decided to execute the actual power with intention. So if you uplift and edify, that means you build up. That means you're the person who's going to be recalled and remembered with your legacy as the one who was receiving, the one who was believing in who and what? You. If I don't speak, you ain't going to hear me. If I don't tell you that you got this, fam, you're not going to know that Jared believes that about you. If I don't say something, then you can't hear what I don't say. That's why you got to unmute yourself today. You have to decide to be the person who is going to use their power and stop letting people rob you of your power. Stop letting people take things away from you that belong to you. Stop letting people take your voice away from you. That's the number one thing that people got problems with. You got TikTok, you got IG, you got Facebook, you got Twitter. It used to be Twitter, now it's X. People do not want their voice to be muted. This is why you have the First Amendment. Your voice matters. So much so that lives are changed and transformed when certain people open up their mouths. But if you continue to remain silent, if you continue to rob yourself of the ability to produce a transformation by simply explaining your situation. My bro, he always says this, and I love it. He says, let your demonstration be your explanation. Well, if my demonstration of my articulation is a part of my process, then that means what I articulate can literally change your life. What if I told you today that you can open up your mouth to somebody and I promise you it would change and transform their life? And let's say we're not going for transformation in life. Okay. What if I told you that right now there's somebody who would love to hear your voice? I know you know it's true. You probably think of them right now. There's somebody who would love to hear your voice. I don't care how you think you sound. It ain't the point. Like how you feel about yourself and all of that stuff is not the point. There are people who feel like they would not be able to live life without you and your voice. I have this situation that I have not really gone about publicly on stuff and talked about, but I've been wrestling with some things in my health since 2023. Well, in private rooms, I open up my mouth and I tell people what's going on, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, I never would have known." If I never tell you what's going on with me, if I never show you that I have a scar, then you won't even know that this wound that you have in that same place can be healed. I've actually had to go through some changes and transformations at a very high level. I'll talk about it at another time, but here's the thing. You don't realize how important it is to actually be able to speak until you can't speak. You don't realize how valuable it is to hear somebody's voice until you can't hear it again. I actually, back in 2017, I was on the phone with my dad, my biological father. We were talking, and he ends up getting a phone call while we're on the phone. Now I'm sneaking on the phone at work and all of that. And then he says, hold on real quick. I said, no, 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 no. I just talk to you later. He said, you sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. He said, all right, boy, I'll talk to you later. Love you. I said, talk to you later. Love you too. He clicks over. I get off of work 6 hours later, and I find out after he clicked over, he actually had, at first they told me it was a heart attack. Then I found out it was an aneurysm, and he died. I did not know the value of that last conversation. See, shortly after getting off the phone with me, he clicked over and died on the phone with somebody else. So when my dad ain't here and I can't hear his voice and all of that stuff, that takes a toll on you. That affects the way that you see life. So you got the ability to hear somebody's voice just by picking up the phone, and then you got the ability to wish you could. And in that situation, all I have is 2 voicemails. One of them I took, and it's not in context, but I took the voicemail, and what I did was I created some music around it. And it's personal. As a matter of fact, I will play it at another time for some of y'all. I'm actually doing something real soon. I'm gonna be hosting a little, online party or something. I'll tell you about it if you want to hear about it at another time. But to be able to hear my father's voice again, all I got to do is press play, and I hear his voice, but I hear it with the music that I created around it. Well, fast forward, here it is in 2020, and COVID happens, and people are passing away, dropping like flies, and everybody didn't have a voicemail like me. Not everybody is able to hear the voice of the very ones that they love and value and cherish anymore. Well, my wife and I have 3 children, and you best believe I've been intentional with my voice, so much so that I create alarms around this house. And when it's time for them to do certain things, they hear daddy's voice telling them to do it because my voice matters. Why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you this because your voice matters. I'm telling you this because somebody wants to hear your voice, and they're going to need to hear your voice in the near future or by the end of this day. And if you simply speak, if you use your voice, it could cause them to change and transform the whole view of life. Their whole day could be trash. At least they feel that way. And they hear your voice, and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you called. You don't even have to call. You can just leave a voice memo. I do it all the time. I don't like texting. I do voice memos. If you use your voice, you are actually exercising your choice. Did you know that? Did you know that if you choose to speak, then you choose to do something that can't nobody stop you from doing because you've unmuted yourself? Well, what if you decided to unmute yourself today? Listen, I ain't got nothing to offer you or tell you. I'm not supposed to try to get you to do nothing, but I am making you aware that you got options and you got opportunities, and they require you to open up your mouth and speak the truth, not your truth, the truth. And here's a reminder of the truth. You still here, fam. You got life in your body. You've outlasted and overcome so many things, and you still going through a lot of it. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. I know it gets tough, but you tough. You ain't weak. Otherwise, you would have been broken and never put back together after outlasting whatever it was that you outlasted. You still here. I'm dealing with conditions in my body right now that's preventing me from being the way that I want to. But by the grace of God, I'm able to show up the way that I choose to. Why? Because that's my power. He's given me the power, ability, skill, and time to do things that I didn't even realize I should have been doing a long time ago. Sometimes it takes you being broken in order to put things together the right way. So what if you decided to break the chains off of that which is causing you to be muted and you spoke up? What if you actually had a business that you decided to get loud about? Telling people about the talents that you have, the skills that you have, the work that you're doing, the abilities that you have to actually provide them with something that they didn't even know that they needed. Or they knew they needed, they just didn't know that you provided it. They didn't know you served it. Some of us, I'm going to put it to you like this. Stop hiding. Stop hiding your voice. Your words matter. Your opinion matters. People need to hear you. They need to hear from you. They need to know that, hey, you know what? I ain't crazy. Sometimes you're just the person that's going to validate other people by speaking your mind. And they're like, oh my goodness, I'm glad to know I'm not the only one. But how can they know if you never speak up? They can't know if you never speak up. You don't have to be out here trying to be a motivational speaker, an inspirational speaker, and none of that stuff. What I am saying is, if you don't learn to be intentional with your mouth and your voice, people are always going to leverage you by what you hear rather than what you say. And that's not fair. You were created for more than that. That ain't, we ain't doing that. We're not doing that, fam. And you got a lot of people say, well, I tried. Well, I got something for that. How about you tried? But to try is not enough. Trying, TRY, is just where you find the real you. And in the process of doing the things that you didn't know that you could do, you eventually do it enough to become the person that somebody sees as the actual example. What are you already an example of that you don't even realize? Because this right here, I tried this, I
tried this, tried that, tried everything. Coming right back. Won't you wait for me? I need you to stay right there.
Right there, hold on.
I'm coming right away, my dear.
You got the ability to change somebody's life by speaking truth. You got the ability to tell exactly what it is that needs to be told to. You have the ability, you have the power, you have the opportunity, and it's right there in front of you. Don't let nobody rob you of that again. You got this, fam, and it's yours and it belongs to you. Nobody else. And because it doesn't belong to anybody else, your story does not belong to anybody else. That means the glory from your story can change somebody else's life. You can choose to be intentional about it now so they can actually receive what it is that you have to give, or you can wait till you passed on and be a statistic. The statistic that says, oh, well, when the person dies, that's when everybody cares. You ain't got to be a statistic, fam. Do not wait until you're no longer here to speak up and tell the truth. I don't care what it is. It could be the truth about whatever it is somebody ain't talking about in the family. Oh, well, we don't talk about that. You talk about it because somebody needs to be freed by you unmuting yourself. And by you unmuting yourself, you have no idea how many more people you just might be unmuting. Speak up. Speak out. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. But that's one thing, but I tell you, it says open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all the unfortunate. There are people who are in unfortunate circumstances and situations, and they require you to open up your mouth on their behalf because you're the person to do it. If you don't believe me, then ask yourself this. What am I being silent on? And how can I open my mouth to possibly prove myself wrong? Because you've been wrong before. You've been wrong before. And this is one of those things that if you unmute yourself, you'll find out just how wrong you might be. It's worth you speaking. It's worth you speaking up. And it's also worth you going out there and being intentional with the gift that you have, because everybody ain't got it. And if you got it, you have a voice, that means you have a choice and you have the ability to change. You change yourself and change somebody else. I think I said enough. I believe I said enough. I'm going to go out with this right here. I'm going to put a little bit more of my music on. I love this. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, I'm about to start doing something on YouTube where I'm actually taking my music and I'm providing it for other people so that they can add it to their business and they can take their marketing and their actual message, put it together and put it out there, and you can have actual music for your content. It's called Sonic Branding, family. And if you know that you have something that needs to be heard and it needs to be packaged up the right way, then you know what? Tomorrow might be the thing for you. If you're interested in that, just shoot me a message or a DM. And as far as anything else, look, I am about to be doing a whole lot more with my voice, being intentional with my mouth and the words that come out of it, because so many people need me to unmute. And it's time. It's time. And I feel like I've gotten comments and I've missed them. But look, I'll be back. I'll be back. Today is wife day, so I got to get back to the wife and kids. But look, unmute yourself. Stop being afraid to speak up, because somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And I don't care who you think you are or not. I am focused on who I know you are. And who you are is someone who has been created in the image of God. Yep. And because you've been created in the image of God and in his likeness, that means there is value attached to your identity in everything that you say you don't believe and do and all that stuff. Whatever the case, I don't care. All I care about is the value that is in you. And that's love. Love is learning to observe the value in everyone. And there is value in you right now. And if you are holding it back and you're not speaking up and speaking facts and telling the truth, then you lying to yourself and everybody else. And you ain't got to do that, fam. Matter of fact, that's the next topic I'll be actually getting on top of. That is love, because I know for a fact many of us are definitely misinformed when it comes to love. And if we're going to love the right way, then we got to open up our mouth and speak, right? We still unmuting ourselves. And that's the move for me. I want to help people to unmute themselves so you can unmute your legacy. Remember that life examples gained after considering you, your story deserves to be understood and heard in context, but your legacy is your reputation, and you will be known for what you say and do. But they go hand in hand. Much love, y'all. I'm going to ride out with this right here. I feel like, I created all this stuff, but it's cool. Walk into it with purpose, y'all. Be intentional with your words. Somebody need to hear you. And if you're scared, stop being scared. Don't be afraid. Speak up. Tell it. I promise you there's freedom on the other side of unmuting yourself. Trust me. You better unmute yourself for God to unmute you and put you in a position where you gotta speak out. You gotta cry out. Don't wait until you gotta cry. Say what needs to be said now, and don't be afraid. I got your back. I got your back like chiropractor. If you need somebody to speak up for you, let me know. I'll tell it. I'll tell them what they need to hear. I'll say it for you, fam. You need somebody to speak up for you? I got you. That's a fact. Anyways, much love, y'all, and I will see y'all again soon. Take care.